How would you guys define toxicity in online multiplayer games? This is something that I've been thinking about the last couple of days because I've been seeing a lot of posts, I feel like recently on TikTok and Reddit about should I play this game? And maybe they're talking about a game like Dota. They're asking if they should play Rust. And their biggest concerns are how toxic is the game? Because I don't want to deal with toxicity. Usually the response is, yeah, dude, it's really bad. Like you really don't want to be in this environment if you can avoid it. It's a lot of fun. You'll have an unimaginable amount of fun in a game like Rust if you get into it, but you better have some thick skin because it is very toxic. And I read these posts and I see these videos that people make and I think, am I just out of touch with human emotion? Because I don't normally ever feel like someone's being toxic to me in most gameplay experiences that I have. And maybe my definition of what toxic is different than most of y'all. So I thought it'd be fun to give my definition of what I think toxicity is here and what my threshold is. And you guys can tell me yours and we'll sort of compare if I'm just out of the loop here and I've become hardened and desensitized to feeling anything at all. I feel like for me, I have two ways that I can sort of view toxicity in online multiplayer games. And you have PvE games and PvP. So let's say in the PvE environments, like let's say you're playing Valheim with some friends and one of your friends is a crazy person and you know that they're crazy and you kind of have to baby them because any little thing that happens in a game that you play, they're just going to spaz. And you know they're a spaz. They rage all the time. They rage quit half the games you play because they don't pay attention to details and they're just always on edge. So let's say something bad happens. You're playing Valheim with them and there's a troll raid and the trolls show up and they break their base and this person somehow loses their gear and they spaz and they start breaking items and they're destroying the base and they're ruining the gameplay experience for you in a PvE environment. I think that's being toxic. That's where I would draw the line in PvE. It's pretty straightforward there, right? I wouldn't say being mean or trash talking in a PvE game is necessarily being toxic, but I would say if you are destroying resources or not letting me play the game the way that we all intended to play it whenever we first started playing together, okay, that's toxic. On the PvP side of things, it's a little bit more complicated, but not that crazy. Let's say in a game like Counter-Strike, I would say that somebody is being toxic within the game if they are team killing or they're just feeding and they're ruining the game for everybody. There's no more competitive tension of any kind because one person has decided, I'm done doing this, and there's suddenly this imbalance of competition and it's just sort of over. This would also apply to like a MOBA, right? If you're playing like Dota, I'm not sure if you can do this in League, but if you're like breaking your own items, you're feeding, you're giving the other team this massive gold advantage, I'd say that's being toxic. The other side of it in PvP is if somebody that you're playing against or with follows you outside of where the game is being played. So let's say you lose in Counter-Strike and one of your teammates has been talking shit to you all game long. If they follow you outside of the match and they send you a friend request on Steam and then they're just harassing you, okay, that's being toxic there. But I kind of feel like just shit talking and insulting people and criticizing them, I don't feel like that's being toxic. Maybe I'm toxic because I don't think that, but I think that's why the mute exists in those games. You can just mute people and you don't have to listen to it. It's fine. Maybe I just grew up with so much trash talking and like chirping back and forth in sports and even like at recess and like junior high and elementary school. There's just normal competitive chatter that goes on that I think has made me really not think twice about somebody saying not nice things in a video game. So let me know what your definition of toxicity is, because maybe I'm just completely out of the loop when it comes to feeling human emotion because I have been exposed to it for so long that I have also become toxic and I just don't realize it. But maybe we're in alignment and I'm not as crazy as I think, and a lot of people are just being too sensitive.